right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. This is an ever-changing world that we live in, and so many of the things that change are really for the better. And you realize that sometimes that some of those changes that have happened in the world that made you rethink your own position, you probably have had this happen to you where you say, you know what, I guess I was wrong, I was unfair, I didn't understand, who knows what it is, you know. The fact is that I'm attracted to women. How about that, Robin?
I'm glad about that.
I am attracted to women.
Women are
I have
happy about that.
No, I don't know that they're all happy about it. I don't think they care, but it's just a fact. I don't know where it comes from. It's just part of me, you know. I know I'm not alone in this. I know there's a lot of guys who are attracted to women, and there's a lot of women attracted to men.
That's right.
It's just the way it is. But that's not to say that there aren't some men out there that I absolutely love. There are some that I absolutely love. I'm not attracted to them, but I love them. And love is such a wonderful thing. And so when we are trying to explain to children about love, and you know, somebody one time said that we don't have enough words for love. Other languages have more words. We don't have enough. So maybe, I don't know if that's part of the problem. What would that be called? Semantics when you talk about that? Okay. Al Vernacchio is on the phone. He is a high school sexuality educator and an English teacher at Friends Central School in Wynwood, Pennsylvania. And he provides parent education on human sexuality topics. One of the faculty advisors for the Gay Straight Alliance. He's a lecturer. He's the feature of the New York Times Magazine cover story. What, the one that's out right now? And he's got a blog called For Goodness Sex, which is also the title of the book that we're going to be speaking about, changing the way we talk to teens about sexuality, values, and health. I'm going to say good morning, then I want to tell him what we witnessed this weekend that I thought was pretty sweet, actually. Al Vernacchio, good morning, Al.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning to you. Where are you?
I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia. All right.
Yeah.
I love Philadelphia. What's the weather like there?
It's a kind of a rainy day here today, so It's a great day for staying inside.
So I hope I don't sound like I'm being stereotyping right now, but I want to tell you something, and just for the sake of not being judgmental against me, let's assume I'm not. Well, maybe I'm stereotyping, but you'll see what I'm going to talk about. Robin and I went to this marching band competition over the weekend. We videotaped it, etc. And the bands have the band players, and there's some dancers, and the dancers are typically girls.
Yeah, color guard, flags,
So they call them?
guns and stuff.
Well, they're dancing around. They got flags, you know, and one of the dancers was a young man, and here's where I might be stereotyping because he might not be gay, but you know how you say somebody looks gay? Well, this kid looked gay. And I actually, to be honest with you, the truth about my inner feelings was that, isn't it great that this kid can do this? Because back when I was in school, he would have been laughed at, made fun of.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been allowed to do this. He probably loves doing this. And the fact that he can do it and the other kids are fine with it shows that we've come a long way. Mm-hmm. And I may be wrong. The kid may not be gay. I don't really know. But he looked like it. And for the sake of the conversation, I was going to say that if he was... Again, he couldn't have done that when he was in my day, in your day, Robin, in our day.
No.
Right?
No.
So,
couldn't be out there.
anyway, so I think we've come a long way. Al, do you agree that we've come a long way?
I think we have come a long way, and I think that as far as we've come, we still have plenty of ways to go. One of the things about that young man, and I really love that story, is that what often makes us think that he looks gay is that we somehow think that he looks feminine. And we often mix up, or we often put together gender and sexual orientation, when really they're two separate things. So somebody can look feminine but be straight, somebody can look masculine but be gay. But I think you're right, that if that kid was a young gay man, it is great that he has more ability to be out and be visible and be his authentic self, because I think that's what we all want to be.
And the whole idea of attraction and or love, I mean, that's a mystery too. I mean, we all love, I guess we all love people of both sexes, but we're not often willing to say it in that way. The word love, again, maybe is a limited word.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think that One of the things I do in my class is try to separate out 3 different kinds of love. So there's sexual love, there's intimate love, there's romantic love. And sexual love is wanting a body-to-body connection with somebody else. And intimate love is wanting sort of a heart-to-heart or a mind-to-mind connection with somebody else. And romantic love is that sort of hearts and flowers and, Disney movie kind of love. We have certainly intimate love with lots of people in our lives, but we don't romantically or sexually love them. And so I think it is important to think about that distinction, because sometimes with teenagers, what they're looking for might be intimacy, and what they might use to try to get that is sex. And that's not always a great way to achieve one or the other.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out what you want. Yeah.
The one story that that resonated with me was the priest who died on September 11th in New York. He was a chaplain with the New York City Fire Department, and he was very much beloved priest. Priests take a vow of celibacy, and yet he considered himself gay. And when he died of a heart attack on September 11th while trying to help clean up, and or help rescue, I guess.
Rescue the people.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Rescue is what he was doing. But he died of a heart. He was an older guy, and the firefighters loved him. I mean, absolutely loved him. And there's a brotherhood camaraderie there in that organization that I think is a lesson for all of us.
Absolutely. That was Father Michael Judge, and he was he's a great man. There's a wonderful documentary about him called The Saint of 9/11. And again, knowing that we can have intimate and close relationships with lots of different kinds of people, and that sexual attraction doesn't have to be a part of that, is, I think, a really essential thing for us to talk to kids about today as well.
How do you manage to provide parent education and student education on human sexuality topics? How do you reach each generation?
Sure. Well, there's a couple ways that I do that. One is that parents have access to all the materials that I use in my human sexuality classes, so they're always welcome to read the materials along with us, and they can come into class if they want. But I often provide evenings where I just bring parents in, invite parents in, and talk to them about what's happening to their teenagers as they're going through puberty, developmentally, what's going on in terms of their sexual development, and just answer lots and lots of questions. I'm not a parent myself, but having been a human sexuality educator for over 20 years, I feel like I've been in a parental role for a lot of kids. And so I just want to help parents feel more comfortable and confident engaging with their kids, because parents really ought to be the primary sexuality educators.
Now you're in the schools every day, so you see this every day. Are you? Forgive me for asking this, but are you old enough to remember the days that Robin and I remember, where you wouldn't bring this up at all? Period.
Mm-mm.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm 50 years old. So
okay.
I've been around for a while, and and I'm a product of a high school and a grammar school where nobody talked about sex, and it was just not anything you would dare mention. And that's really unhealthy for kids, because they have lots of questions and they need lots of help.
Well, one thing that comes up as a giggle a lot for us is how little we knew and how naive we were. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say much of it on the air because because I don't.
It's a different time.
I don't go that way, but on the air. But I think some of it that we kind of chuckle at because we really knew nothing. So you're right that we didn't get taught much. I remember we had sex ed classes, though. I can't remember what we were taught. I can't, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times I say that the old-fashioned sex ed classes were all about like plumbing and pimples. They were all about body parts and how things connected, and then they were about, the feelings you were going to get going through puberty. That's not what kids have questions about. And today, kids have access to tons of information from the internet, from their cell phones, from social media. So I think parents used to get freaked out because they thought, well, what if I don't know the answer, or what if I don't have the information?
Yeah.
But I think parents' roles have changed today. I think what they need to do is provide context for the information the kids are finding.
Who is the gay Broadway star? He's in a lot. He's one of the voices of the Lion King.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember
Nathan
his
Lane.
name.
What's his name?
Nathan Lane.
Nathan Lane.
That's it, yeah.
I saw Nathan Lane on a talk show one time, and he's outwardly gay, and he said, "Well, I love musicals, I love music, I love dance. Of course, I would be gay." And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I love those things too. That does not necessarily mean you're gay.
That's right.
So he himself kind of, I mean, I know he's being funny, but at the same time, he was basically saying that he was stereotyping himself in a way that did not apply to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that, sometimes those stereotypes have some accuracy to them and sometimes they don't. The problem is when we insist that there's only one very narrow way to be gay or to be straight or to be a man or to be a woman. And, we don't let people be who they most naturally are. The healthiest thing for a kid to be is their authentic self. And that might be a man, but it might be a man who doesn't fit every single box on the man checklist. And, we have to allow people to do that.
And it happens in sports, too. I mean,
Absolutely.
Sports is obviously it's considered a macho, manly thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear about these athletes that come out that are gay. Does this affect what the rules should be regarding the locker rooms? I've often wondered this. If the reason we separate boys from girls in the locker rooms is because we're attracted to each other, then should there be a third or a fourth locker room? Should there be a gay men locker room? They'd all be interested in each other, wouldn't they? Or am I being silly here?
No, I mean, it's an interesting question, and it's one that the kids often bring up in class. And I think you're right that the reason why we do separate things by gender often is the assumption that everybody is straight, and therefore everybody's going to be okay because there's going to be no sexual tension there. The reality is, though, that we have control over our sexual drives and desires, and just because I might get turned on by somebody doesn't mean I have to do anything about that, and it doesn't mean that
that's my story.
Sexuality is not some sexuality is not some like wild, uncontrollable force. I think a lot of people think it is. But it's
I know, and isn't it strange? And they do pin this on men. They say, "Men, you be careful, don't show any skin.
Women are animals.
He's going to explode." Wow, you certainly have your hands full working with the children. Al Vernacchio is our guest. His book is called "For Goodness Sex: Changing the Way We Talk to Teens About Sexuality, Values, and Health," and the book is published by HarperCollins. We need to take a little break, Al. So let me do that right now, and we'll come back with you. Let's see, where's my button? Which button do I push over here? All right, I should know this by now, right? All right, we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. It'll be partly sunny, very warm and humid today, high 86 to 90. Partly cloudy tonight. There may be a shower in spots late tonight near the coast, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, some sun followed by clouds with a shower and thunderstorm around, mainly in the afternoon, high 85 to 89. Wednesday, partly sunny with a couple of showers and thunderstorms around, high 80 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
You've got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Erica Olstein with A Better You Healthcare Acupuncture and Eastern Medicine. As primary care physicians, we use acupuncture to treat back pain, arthritis, migraines, allergies, high blood pressure, thyroid disorders, hormone imbalances, stress, and more using all natural medical therapies. We treat the source of your problems, not just your symptoms. For more information, go to abetteryouhealthcare.com or call today to set up your appointment, 352-615-5566.
All All right, 10 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Al Vernacchio is our guest. He's in Philadelphia, and he's written a book called For Goodness Sex. And let me say good morning to him again. Thank you for waiting through the break, Al. Do you know, I want to tell you about a young lady I know, and I knew her when she was a little girl, and she is a lesbian. And when she was a little girl, I mean, you couldn't tell anything, but now you can tell. I mean, she looks like a man. I mean, really.
Yeah, she does.
And I don't know if that's offensive or not, but she is as sweet as can be. I mean, she's still a great, but the person I really want to tell you about is her mom, because her mom, I remember was beside herself, not knowing what to do with this announcement, I guess when it came up one day. And that's kind of what your book addresses, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah. I think that one of the ways that parents can be most helpful when raising kids and raising sexually healthy kids is to, realize that what we want for our kids is for them to be the person they are, and that whoever that's going to be, we're going to love them, and we're going to support them, and we're going to be able to, to be happy with them. It doesn't mean that parents aren't shocked when kids come out. It doesn't mean that parents aren't shocked when kids let them know that they're having sex or anything like that. But it means that we're able to say, you get to be you, and that's the best way for you to be a healthy person.
Do you know, we broadcast from the local mall. It's a very popular mall. And it is amazing, really, to see the Martin Luther King Jr. dream becoming as a reality. I can't tell you how many couples I see that are, one is white, one is black, and they're just walking hand in hand, and it's no big deal to anybody of their age group anyway. And we see our share of ladies walking hand in hand. Have we seen guys doing this?
Yeah.
So I mean, as Robin just turned 60. I'll be 60 in a couple of months. We have to understand the world has changed, at least as far. But I think it's for a better. I mean, these people can live without feeling like they will be made fun of or ridiculed.
Absolutely, and I think it's one of the places where the younger generation really leads the way, because in the same way with interracial couples, gay and lesbian couples, our younger generation today, they don't care about that stuff. That doesn't define a good or a bad relationship, or a healthy or an unhealthy relationship. And I think that's only for the good, that there can be straight relationships that are great, and there can be straight relationships that are awful, and the same thing for gay and lesbian relationships. But we've stopped using those basic categories as a way to define what's right and wrong, or good or bad, and I think that's really healthy.
And with that being in the news now, especially with the Supreme Court not taking a stand and on ruling on the marriage issue, I think that's being detrimental to the people that want that, and to society as a whole. They have to make a decision.
Well, I think by not deciding, they've decided. I think they've said that they're going to let the gay marriage rulings stand as they are, and I think in 5 years we're going to see, every state have same-gender marriage or marriage equality, and I think it's not going to be a big deal. We've seen it already in 30 states. We have not seen civilization crumble. So I think all the fears and worries we had, we're seeing that, that's just not happening.
Yeah, it's a very political thing, but I always thought it was outrageous that somebody who loved somebody couldn't visit that somebody in the hospital. That to me was outrageous, and that just doesn't even make any sense at all.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why, sex is political, and it's one of the reasons why we need to have protections for everybody, so that their relationships are respected in the larger society.
Al, who did you write? Who did you have in mind when you wrote the book? Is it for the kids themselves, or for their parents, or?
The book is definitely geared for the parents. It's so that parents can become more comfortable, more confident, engaging in a conversation with their kids about healthy sexuality. The reality is that when parents don't talk to their kids, then that doesn't mean nobody's talking to their kids. The kids are having lots of conversations and getting lots of information. And, if we want to really help transmit our family values and transmit some of the rules we're hoping kids will live by, we've got to speak up.
And this is more of an emotional issue for the parents, I think, because they're not thinking about their children when they have to keep this conversation open. All the parents are thinking about is, what are my friends going to say? And that's not a good thing.
Right, and I think that, I think a lot of this comes from a basic feeling that sexuality and sex is somehow dirty or distasteful or sinful or something like that. And I really want to change that paradigm so that why can't we see our sexuality as one of the best things about being human and as one of the things that makes us most able to connect with people in really honest and loving ways. It's easier to talk if you start from a place like that rather than a place of, oh my gosh, what are the neighbors going to think if they find out my kid is on birth control or is sexually active? You know, why can't we see that as a responsible decision?
Let me ask you this, and this doesn't really have to do with gay or straight in any way, I don't think, but do you think it's damaging or could potentially damaging the pornographic magazines and videos that are out there? You know, I'll be the first to raise my hand and tell you, yes, I did buy those magazines when I was younger. Not that I should be proud of it, but I never thought of it as that bad. But as I got older, I started thinking, well, you know what I think I may have been doing? I may have been looking at the human body as almost like a catalog. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, there's another new car out there. You know. Right. I started changing my mind about how it could be damaging. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, certainly we know that internet pornography is one of the main sources of information for kids today. I mean, the latest data I saw is that kids see their first incidents of internet porn either intentionally or unintentionally by age 11. So we've got to be talking to kids about this. The part that's damaging about it is when kids or adults think that is in any way depicting real life. So in my class, I compare pornography to like watching your favorite action movie in the movies. You know, you wouldn't leave Die Hard and think that you could get in a car and drive the way they did in the movies, or because you know it's a fantasy. Well, porn is a fantasy. It's a constructed reality. And if you base real life on it, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And if you also, you know, porn really objectifies people. It makes people into objects. And just as you said, if you're looking at people like a new car, then you're not going to relate to them as a full human being, and that can be problematic. And
then all of a sudden, love isn't love. Love is loving to be. I love to be with you, not that I love you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like I love being in my new car. I don't love the car.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're in a good place for doing what you're doing. It sounds like. Al is. Let me give the one away that you've sent us. It is called For Goodness Sex. Al Vernacchio is the author. You can have the copy that was sent to me if you call me and ask for it, 622-WOCA. The rest of us have to go buy it. Al, how do we do that? How do we buy this book?
You can buy this book at any book retailer, online or brick and mortar. It's anywhere books are sold.
You're really doing a most excellent job by writing this book and bringing this to the forefront, because people need to know that they are loved. People need to know that everybody needs to be an individual, and you're helping them do that, and you're also helping the parents as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's my goal.
And now, do you have a website of your own?
The best way to get to me is either through Twitter, Al V Sex Ed, or Facebook, Al Vernacchio Sexuality Educator. The website's coming, but it's not ready yet.
Okay. All this time I've been saying your name wrong. Al Vernacchio. Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. Well, Al, thank you for being on the air with us today, and give my regards to Philly. How's the weather right now?
Yeah, it's still a little rainy, but I think hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah, it's going to be cold soon. See, when you live in Florida, you miss it. Believe it or not. You probably want to be down here.
The grass is always greener, Larry. It's always greener.
I know, but once in a while the snow is whiter too.
Yeah.
I know.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Yeah. All right. Well, Al, thank you so much for being on the air with us today, and come back if you have another book.
You bet. Thanks for having me on.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. It'll be partly sunny, very warm and humid today, high 86 to 90. Partly cloudy tonight. There may be a shower in spots late tonight near the coast, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, some sun followed by clouds with a shower and thunderstorm around, mainly in the afternoon, high 85 to 89. Wednesday, partly sunny with a couple of showers and thunderstorms around, high 80 to 85.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. A Dallas nurse who got Ebola while treating a patient who died is now in isolation. Her home was decontaminated as neighbor Libby Franks watched.
It's kind of scary, but I think they'll get it under control.
At New York's JFK Airport, passengers from West Africa are being screened for Ebola.
Anyone who has a fever will then be interviewed to see whether they may have had contact with someone infected with Ebola. The screenings will expand this week to Newark's Liberty, Washington's Dulles, Chicago's O'Hare, and Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson airports.
Fox Radio's Tanya J. Powers. Gay couples in Alaska can now tie the knot after a federal judge overturned the state's gay marriage ban.
Last week, the U.S. Supreme Court decided not to get involved in the issue, so gay marriage is now effectively legal in about 30 states.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. A powerful storm has left one person dead in Arkansas. Forecasters say there's a danger of damaging winds and rain from northern Louisiana to southern Illinois. Fox News. We report, you decide.
You use the motor oil Dad used, and he uses what Granddad used, yet no one uses what Great-Granddad used, because whale oil is illegal. But if oil's what you need, Napa has you covered. With Castrol GTX for only $3.79 a quart, or 5 quarts in a Napa Silver filter for just $21.99. No harpoons needed. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 11/16/14.
What's the secret to great business trips? Choice Hotels, where you'll find everything a business traveler needs, like a generous rewards program. And right now, when you take 2 separate trips at Comfort Inn or any Choice Hotel, you can earn 1 night free. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and book now at choicehotels.com. Great endings begin here. Free night based on an 8,000-point Choice Privileges reward night at over 1,500 hotels. Valid 9/4/14 through 11/12/14. Requires registration and 2 separate qualifying stays. Other terms and conditions apply. Details at choicehotels.com.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. USDA's Ag Statistics Service released on Friday the new crop estimates for the year. This is the October run. They're showing the peanut crop stayed about the same. Actually, it was up slightly from the September forecast and up 19% for the year. The new total is 2,491,050 tons. The big surprise was Alabama stayed the same. As the September estimate, 3,000 pounds per acre. Florida was predicted to continue with 3,900 pounds per acre, and Georgia to average 4,000 pounds per acre. Those were the same figures as last month, and farmers were surprised they were not declined after some of the harvesting. Area harvested nationwide, 1.31 million acres. That's unchanged from September, but up 25% from last year. Based on conditions, the average yield will be 3,812 pounds per acre. That is down from last year's 4,000 pounds per acre. In other crops, corn production, 14.5 billion bushels. That's up less than 1% from the previous forecast and up 4% for the year from 2013. Average yield, 174.2 bushels per acre. Soybeans want 3.93 billion bushels. They're forecast to be up 17%. And yield to be 47.1 bushels per acre.
The University of Florida IFAS invites cattle ranchers across the state to attend the Florida Fall Cattlemen's Conference and Allied Trade Show November 20th in Ocala. The event will include discussions on a variety of topics ranging from beef economics, haymaking the grade, chute side manners, and a Florida cattle industry update. Registration is needed by November 7th at a cost of only $25. To learn more or to get registered, go to eventbrite.com and search for Florida Fall Cattlemen. That's eventbrite.com.
I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
Look who just walked in the room, Joel Wiesner from What's Up Ocala. Hey, Joel, I'm looking for something to do this weekend. You got any ideas?
Absolutely. Check out our event calendar online at www.whatsupocala.com, and there is plenty of events there for you. Daily news updates to event reviews and magazine articles.
Really?
We've organized it all in one place online for you to cut through all of the hassle of finding something to do this weekend. We have a daily event calendar, a bi-monthly magazine, and we also do daily news articles.
All right, Joel, that's perfect. Thanks so much.
Yeah, whatsupocala.com.